Hi, we're Nick and Hannah at Bolito, and together we run a company called SquareKicker.
SquareKicker is a no-code design and animation tool for Squarespace websites. Creating a beautiful website is easy, but for designers to create something truly unique, taking their visions and designs to the next level just isn't possible on Squarespace without complex code.
While running our web design agency, we saw frustration from other designers and business owners who struggled to customize a site because they couldn't write custom code. We kept wondering, what if we can make an easy way for people to create their unique designs so they never had to touch a single line of code? But the problem was, we were just too busy. And if only we had a few months to just sit in the room and code.
The 2020 lockdown gave us a chance to put some of these ideas to work. So the start of SquareKicker looked a lot like this.
After a few weeks of countless hours of obsessive coding, many Zoom calls, we finally had a working prototype.
And we just looked at each other and we knew right away this was an absolute game changer. So we took out a second mortgage and expanded our team.
After lockdown, we moved into a co-working studio called the Press Hall, right here in the Nelson CBD, and we launched SquareKicker to the world in October 2020.
It's been so inspiring hearing designers from around the world tell us they can create unique websites without being held back by code.
We're continuing to push the boundaries of what's possible with no-code web design so that anyone can create their unique designs without any complex technical barriers.
Thank you for considering SquareKicker for this year's Nelson.
Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar. We're so pleased to see you all joining us. It's nice to see everyone here. See, hi Roland, hi Julian, hi Christy. Nice to see you guys signing in. That last video was just a wee clip from a business awards entry that we sent into our local kind of area here. We thought it might be a fun way to you guys to get a little insight into what we've been doing. I'm Hannah, I'm part of the SquareKicker team. Please go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat. We would love to hear who you are and where you're coming from and what you're doing with your business. Let us know all of that stuff. It would be great to connect there. We've got the team with us here today. We've got Nick and Rowan, and behind the scenes we've got Nat and Lauren. They're going to come say hi. Come say hi, guys. So these are all of the people behind SquareKicker. If you're talking to any of us on email or customer support, this is who you're hearing from. So it's nice to put a face to the name. So we're coming to you here from Nelson in the top of the South Island of New Zealand, all the way down south. It's starting to get a bit summery here, which is why we're starting to crack out some of the summer clothes. Sorry if you're going into winter and that's a little sad for you. So we are streaming out of our co-working studio that we work in with a bunch of awesome creatives. We've got photographers and graphic designers, and it's just a really awesome creative space to work in. So let us know where you're working from. Do you work from home? Are you in an office? Are you working in a co-working studio as well? It's awesome to hear. Also, Nick's gonna give us a recap in a little minute of SquareKicker and where it's kind of come from and the whole concept around why we built it, just to give you a little bit of background. And then Nick and Rowan are going to start demoing some awesome new features, which we are so excited to show you. They will be going live, some of them pretty soon. So it's a really good way for you guys to get ahead and start planning out what you're going to do with them. We'll finish with a live Q&A, so pop your questions into that Q&A panel, and we will get to those at the end. So Nick, do you want to give us that little recap?
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to this. It's probably been a dream of ours to be doing something like this. And I can't believe it's already been, gosh, almost a year since we've launched. I think our SquareKicker birthday is coming up. October the 9th is when we released SquareKicker to the world. But it all didn't start there at October. We just had to look back through some photos and some archives of some things. And that's us kind of dreaming and scheming of the whiteboard of the UI. So you see you have text and image and button. And the hard part about SquareKicker was not necessarily just the technical, but actually the way to make it super intuitive. So anyone who had no idea how to use SquareKicker could jump straight in and use it. So that probably was 2 weeks, I would say, wasn't it, of whiteboarding on the ground in our office. It was pretty fun.
Still on the ground before we were got around hanging up our whiteboard.
We managed to gain a lot of core strength from getting to and from that whiteboard, but no, I think it's actually mounted to the wall now, so we're going
upgraded.
So so the initial inception of SquareKicker actually started when COVID hit. So we were obviously, as you saw in that video, working as web designers, and just kept thinking of a unique way that we can give people access to code without having to actually write it themselves. And so we kept brainstorming and trying to work on this idea, but then of course COVID hit, and that just kind of gave us a whole bunch of time to kind of lock down literally and try some ideas. We saw a drop off in clients because they weren't sure what they were going to do with their websites and their business because everything was kind of, standstill. So we just kind of ripped into it and started just working on this idea. And all late hours of the night and even the weekends. And Rowan doesn't have any photos of it, but he was coding in his hammock with a Chromebook, I believe. So that's kind of the initial inception of a SquareKicker, and that's us just kind of on Zoom calls constantly throughout lockdown, trying to figure out what is this thing that we have. And once we knew we had something amazing, we sell the video. We dropped everything and we just committed, went full steam ahead and expanded our team and then jumped into it. And so we launched SquareKicker in October 2020 last year with version 1.0. So that we released just with image tools, text, and button tools. December, we had a few new exciting upgrades. We released a page and site tools. Within that, we had some header tools, giving you the ability to change the color of your logo on a site or any individual page, a scroll up bar, and even that famous scroll up button that we see on almost all your sites. People really enjoy that site, or that button rather, as well as the button hover mode. Now this is a bit of a sneak peek of what's to come, but we're just testing out this idea of you can change a design based on a state, and playing around with that was pretty exciting. So you can change the animation of a button when you hover on it. So that was a pretty fun feature. And in March, we hit a massive tools upgrade, and we had section tools and dividers, split screens, hide section by device. We rebuilt the image block tool, which allows you to have 6 different specific settings for a card, an overlap, and any type of image block. So we realized building this out that it just got deeper and deeper and deeper in all the things we could build. And so as we continue to rebuild that image block tool, we also improved SquareKicker's speed by 4 times. We actually realized there was a massive growth spurt and our servers needed a bit of kind of a TLC and the way we're compiling everything. So we kind of did a big, massive rebuild on how we were doing everything and improved SquareKicker's initialization speed by 4 times. So that was a really exciting time in history of SquareKicker. Moving forward, in May, we released hotkeys. If you haven't seen those, you can check out our tutorials video and just a quick little hover to release SquareKicker tools or just quick access to SquareKicker. We also give color swatches for quick access to your previously used colors on SquareKicker. Improved font picker, which you can search and filter your fonts. And due to high demand, people are actually wanting more websites than 10 at a time. So we released an agency plan, which allows you to have up to 25 per month. And so that's for those of you who are cranking out multiple hundreds of websites a year. July, summary block tools. Again, that was 4 different subtypes. And that was a recent release rather, but that was been a long time coming, thinking about how we were going to do that. And then we also released beta tools. So you would have seen some of the animation features that we're going to announce today. And that would have been if you were a designer, you would have a beta flag switched on, and that would have been our anchor links and our smooth scrolling, as well as lightbox for summary block. So that's when you click on a you click on a summary block and that image opens up as a full screen. September rolled around. We actually filmed our first ad promotional video. So you see Lauren there and in the video, and the wall that is behind us that you'll see is actually a plywood wall that was erected about the same time. So we got to use that space and convert it into a studio. And as well, you'll see Josh, who is our guys who we work with, Lumiere, who do film and photography. So they give us a help out, and they do some amazing work. So we're pretty excited to release that promotional ad soon, so keep your eyes peeled. And that leaves us to next month and some exciting new things to show you guys. So in about a minute, we're gonna do that.
Cool. Thanks for that, Nick. That's awesome. It's always fun looking back. It kind of, I don't know what it feels like for you guys, but on this end, it's been a bit of a whirlwind getting SquareKicker off the ground and how fast it's been able to move and how well you guys have responded. We have just been so blown away by how quickly people have adapted SquareKicker into their workflow hearing your feedback about how it's made an impact on your business has been so encouraging for us. Every time we get it, we kind of show your messages around the office, and that's huge encouragement. So thank you very much for everyone that sends those through. Right, I am going to go off now and jump into the Q&As. So if you've got some questions, I've seen a couple come through on the chat. So if you could pop those into the Q&A panel. And if you've got any more questions, pop those in there. I'm going to go through and sort those, and I'll come back in a minute and answer those. But now I'm going to leave you with Nick and Rowan, and they're going to take you through a demo of some of the new features.
All right. Cool. So as we mentioned before, we did have a couple of these features being advertised, or if you have early release beta tools inside of a designer plan. And that is our new advanced tab. Now we call this animations to start with because we thought we can just load up with all the different animations, but then we quickly realized that we don't want to limit ourselves there. We actually want to allow for some really top level customizations and animations, as well as anything we can think of down in the future. So to start with, we have a couple of the things that we just talked about, which are our smooth scrolling and our anchor links. But then we're also going to be releasing some very exciting things, which is the sticky sections and block parallax scrolling, as well as some horizontal scrolling, that's entire sections, and some unique hover states for blocks. Might be images, we'll start with there, and then we'll continue to move past and see what is possible on Squarespace with SquareKicker. So, I think we want to do a little bit of a demo, really, on what that looks like. Don't we, Ron?
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, I think we'll start with, probably sticky sections and horizontal scrolling. I mean, just as a note, I mean, it's possible these are working titles. Something that's easier to pronounce in a hurry maybe could be nice, but for now, that'll do.
Yeah, cool. So, I'm going to just turn this little demo on, and we're just going to walk you through a little bit of what's to come in the near future. So if I pop this on, this is just a Squarespace site that we've done up here. I'll let Ron take that over.
Cool. I'll just grab this mouse here. So this should be pretty straightforward. So we've got this sort of teed up for a demo. You might notice here as well, if we open SquareKicker, we are currently working on a bit of a version 2.0 revamp for the styling. Might be a little bit different, but it's good to keep things fresh. So if we head over to the Advanced tab, so like we said, these won't be releasing tomorrow or anything, but this is what we're playing around with at the moment in-house. So we'll start with sticky sections, and I'm just going to start with this top section. So you can see there's a few sections below it, which it's not a lot of content and would look much better off to the side. So the plan is, all going well, if I'm still doing my job right, if we do that, awesome. I'm just going to do save, keep it simple, and now even in edit mode, actually, yeah, that all working in edit mode, that was half the trick as well, to be honest. Cool. Oh, that's number one. Yeah, the UI might be a bit blurry, which is kind of fair. Things are a little bit small, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Just take it over your mouse for a second.
That's all right. I don't need a mouse.
There you go.
All right, good. Round two. So, I think going down to here, this was, actually, if I leave edit mode, this will work much better. So the next one we were playing with was parallax block movement, which again might be a bit of a working title, but just playing with the concept of just kind of moving things around with the scrolling animation, which is going to be a lot of fun. So this is taking us a little bit to sort of work our way through. But there's going to be a lot of customization and a lot of time to have a play around with that. Like there's actually sort of winding it down a wee bit so it's less complicated is going to be sort of part of the challenge, but still leaving all of that functionality to have a good play with is really the plan. I mean, that's kind of the crux of our product, is a lot of functionality, but trying to keep it nice and intuitive to use, which is pretty much the challenge of what we do. But you know, that's going to be awesome. We can't wait to release that upon the world and see what you all create with it. That should be good fun. Finally, awesome. As we head back down a bit further, I had this next section here. So we've got two sections. And we're just going to play with this one. If I go into edit mode, this one's not quite as easy, just because we're still working on actually getting it to activate live in edit mode, because how one edits this once it's activated is kind of part of the challenge. But I'm going to go into horizontal scrolling. And then here we're going to turn on enable, which is a little bit underwhelming, which is half the reason this is still in the oven baking away. If we scroll down here, that should reload and it should do a bit of magic for us. So the plan is, if I go up, so we see our awesome scroll magic shenanigans. And then as we head down, it's just two. I mean, the plan is you can load this up with as many sections as you want, and just sort of playing with the concepts of actually scrolling sideways. So you hit the section, it kind of snags you a little bit, and you start going off to the side, and you can come through, and it's just, it's just makes it a bit more of an experience. It slows the user down and really focuses in on the content you're looking at. And then we've also got these nice hover state overlays, which was things that we were talking about earlier. So this is on image blocks and doing the captions with hover mode, and obviously having a transition with them as well, which is good fun. So we always enjoy trying to combine these tools together and just seeing what we can come up with them. It really is like having a whole bunch of pieces of Lego and throw them out and see how things go. So just to note, all these animation things, as I said, they are still in the oven baking away. We want to make sure we get them to their very best state before we release them to the world. However, if you are on a designer plan, that is where you will have access to beta features, and that's where they will be accessible first of all, and then later they will come to the rest of our users. Just keep that beta flag ticked on, and hopefully they should turn up in due course. I think that's the end of my demo there.
Yep, that's pretty exciting. I don't know about you, but I first started web design, and I saw a Parallax website, and I thought, wow, that's cool. I wonder if I can make that. And so I started teaching myself how to code, and the first thing I did was, how do I do parallax scrolling? I had no idea how to HTML, CSS, anything, and I started just hacking away at parallax scrolling. So the ability to be able to do that with SquareKicker at the click of a button is pretty unreal, to be honest. I don't know of any other web platform, probably in the world, that allows that simple and advanced complexity all held together in one spot, and especially on a Squarespace site, which I heard once people say, you can't do much with a Squarespace site. It's literally a square site. And so we're just really kind of just giving a new definition of what web design on Squarespace would look like. So yeah, so that's pretty exciting. I'm pretty pumped about that. We'll be periodically releasing these animations in the months ahead, and over the next 12 months, hopefully with this new advanced tab and some extra things that we're cooking up, this is gonna just kind of unleash a whole new way of creating websites. And so we hope you're excited about that. It looks like in the chat there's a few people pretty pumped, as we are, so that's good. Now we want to also just bring up something that is going to release with SquareKicker 2.0 sometime next month, and that is going to be something that we think is really going to change the game as far as we're concerned with how people use and interact with SquareKicker. So without any further ado, I'm sure you guys all probably know it's coming, and that is, drum roll. This is the longest drum roll in the world, except for my screen. Presets. Now, we've heard so many of you guys asking for something like this, and essentially what this allows you to do is to use all your favorite SquareKicker tools. You can design in your image block. You can see that gradient looks good. You got the rounded corners, the size, the scale, the position, but then you head into your laptop view and you can change and tweak it there. Of course, your tablet and your mobile view, you might even be able to hide it on certain devices, and that's ready to go. You're pumped, and that's exactly how you want it to look. Now, if you want to do that again on another block, we know the pain point because we experience it using it on our own sites. You have to start over. So you have to start over, change that image, remember what you've done, how you've gone through right from the start, and then essentially save it again and then continue to carry on. But With SquareKicker presets, this allows you to design something, create a preset, and then use that again across your entire site. So that's going to really change how fast you can make these custom edits. And the really cool part about that is once you've made that preset and you apply it to multiple blocks across your site, you can then go, oh, my client has asked me to tweak that or change this. And so by going into your preset, as you adjust your preset, you're actually allowing yourself to change all the presets across your entire site. And then you can additionally tweak that individually. So you want that preset to have a specific extra custom styles, and that allows you to be really specific on how that's working. So this just opens up a whole new way of designing on SquareKicker for Squarespace websites, and really it gets to a point where even us, as we design websites, this is so much faster than coding, even if you really know what you're doing, because there's no way you can code that much stuff in that short period of time and that easily, and then manage it and back it up and have it all ready to go. So we use this in-house all the time, so we know what the life-changing experience this is going to bring for you guys. But because we're so close to releasing, we actually have a really good demo for you here today, just so you can see how easy it is. And so, in doing so, I'm going to flick on this other screen here, and Rowan, would you like to take us through?
All right, back in the driver's seat.
Actually, can I borrow your mouse again for a second? I'm going to steal that back.
Yeah, go for gold. Just have a little bit of admin. No, it's very, very exciting. I mean, this was obviously one of our most requested features. We have been doing a lot of work, shoring up the foundations of SquareKicker 2.0 so we can start building a lot of this extra functionality on it. So this is our first incarnation of presets, and it's incredibly exciting. It's been a lot of work, but it's really, really going to pay off. I'm just going to head down this website and we'll find somewhere new to just kind of style up a bit of a block. So this one here, we can use our new summary tools. Now I have had some comments that the UI is a little bit blurry just through this feed, so my apologies with that, but I hope this will still have some level of impact. So I'm just going to do some quick styles here. So I might just head to elements, we will go to thumbnails, and a nice easy one I always enjoy is just making them round. So we'll head to border. I scroll to the bottom, I want that one. Now here, actually I'm going to just do and change this from pixels to percentage, which might be a trick. I'm not sure how much you're aware of. That keyboard. Good. There aren't too many computers on this desk or anything. Good. And there we will do, what have we got? Add a little bit of this on the side to it. We can use our nice color swatches to quickly add a color, just to make it really stand out. Good. I'll just keep it nice and simple with that, so we don't spend too much time styling up a block. But here, now that I've made all of that, I'm going to head over to our new presets tab. And here we have a nice, if we have any active edits on this block, we have a nice big purple button that we can click, and it will copy all of the styles that we've just made from this block, and it will save it into our new preset. So I'm going to name this naturally, so I can find this later. You don't have to name it, you will get a nice unnamed preset thing wise, but I'm just going to do, this is our team summary. One nice thing is if you open a summary block, you will only see presets that you've made for a summary block in the past, so it won't get all filled up with buttons and text. You'll just see what's relevant and usable to this block to keep things easier. I'm just going to go apply on that one, and now we can head on down to the next one and just quickly duplicate that out. Actually, I can use my hotkeys. Is that holding down option? There we go, yellow. That opens faster. Well, slower, because I did both. But yeah, cool. I tap that, and bam, preset. Awesome.
So easy.
So that definitely simplifies some workflows, I hope. So you can add this to as many blocks as you want across the site. As an example, one thing I noted here is the blue border we just put on doesn't quite have the same level of impact now that I've seen this on a different section. So this is a great opportunity actually. Open up this, we will head into edit mode, and wait, did anyone see the flip? It went flippity.
Flippity flip.
We're going to do that again just for because I. Yeah,
boom, flippity flip.
Yay, flip.
So good.
All right. So now we're in here, and you actually see bit hard. I can't quite get these in the same screen, can I? Oh, there we go. You actually see as I hover, it's actually going to highlight both of those blocks now. And it's just going to make it really obvious that if we make one change, it's going to do it to both of these things at the same time, which is a lot of fun. So here we're just going to go back into our thumbnails, back to our border, and I'm just going to change that color to, there we go, a nice salmon. Lovely. Yeah. So now you can see, now it's going to pop in both, which is much better. Down here we actually have a few options. We can go cancel, that'll revert back to what it was. We can go save as, which will actually take this and save it as a new preset and revert the changes you made on the other one. So there's just a few different workflows here. It might sound a bit complicated if I go through every possible workflow, but what we're really trying to do is make it so no matter how you want to use this, it's going to be easy for you. You don't have to use all of these methods. So now I'm actually going to go update, which will then save that, and we go flippity flip back to where we were, and everything's normal again. And then obviously you can take it off, put it on, which is very easy, and then we just go apply. Cool. Now, one of the things we did, so you have presets, which obviously affect the block you're on, but on this block in particular, I might want to do one thing different. I might want to go to, say, captions, and say maybe on this one I wanted a background, which is going to be a little ugly, I'm sorry, but just to make an example. You'll see here now this has a different setting. So we have our usual yellow dot saying this has been impacted by just this block. If we go right back, you can see here is a purple dot, and so that's saying that this has something which is impacting it from a preset. So the dots are very small, but they took a lot of work, and we think they make a really big difference into just making it somewhat intuitive, which is really nice. And that's kind of the crux of it. There are options. We can duplicate presets, which will add a new one. We can rename that, make it something different, and then we can start getting around. So this is much closer to being finished, and we really look forward to getting this out in the coming weeks. And we really do think it's going to be a massive game changer. I don't know. Do you think did I miss anything obvious?
No, I mean one of the interesting things about using SquareKicker on summary blocks and image blocks is, of course, there's multiple summary blocks. There's a wall, there's a grid, there's a carousel, and there is a, what's the last one?
Grid, wall, carousel.
List.
The list.
Good. List can actually be quite a boring thing, but with SquareKicker, there's actually quite a lot of powerful things. I've actually used it quite a bit recently by even making a list into 2 columns. So we've figured out that if you're making a SquareKicker edit on a grid and then you decide to switch over to a wall, that's going to change how that preset is, because it's going to show up for, well, you made that preset for a wall, not a grid, so it looks different. So now if you apply and create a preset for something, you now have the opportunity to, oh, look, we got some emojis. There we go. That's for our grid. And then if you ever make a preset for a wall, that will show up in that on the left of that preset there, where you'll see grid and wall. So so with that, we'll carry on and talk about how you can actually get this back over here. Cool. So because we have normally given this SquareKicker 2.0, we wanted to release it with a
suspense.
There we go. A new plan. So we're still keeping our basic plans and our designer plans and, of course, our agency plan for your kind of larger teams, but we have introduced a single website to have SquareKicker Pro. Now, SquareKicker Pro will include the Advanced tab and all the animation features, including presets. So that's going to allow you to have a single website with all these animation features included. Now, if you're on the designer plan, well, we just love you guys so much, and so we're actually going to give you everything. So we're going to give you a designer plan that has all the animation features, all the preset features, as well as all the beta features. So that means that every single website that you make in a designer plan will be essentially a pro plan. So we're giving you guys lots of value, along this, but we just think that every designer should have all the tools equipped, and of course there's a good chance that if you have 10 plus websites a month, you can do the math. It actually is a good value there.
One thing to note is we are still making it on your free trial. You do still have access to everything. So that's the presets and the advanced tab. So if anyone does sign up for a free trial, you're still welcome to play with everything that's available. If you do upgrade to a basic, you will just get the basic features from that point on. But if at any point you go higher up, everything you played with in the free trial will come straight back. So if you made presets, if you save that, they will just be there as just where you left off.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point to notice. So we want to give anyone at the free trial the ability to try everything. So very similar to Squarespace itself, in that free trial period, you have access to everything. But of course, once you've chosen a plan, your plan is locked into whatever you've chosen. So if you decide in the future to upgrade and you've done something in a pro feature on a free trial, and you're only on a basic, then of course, yeah, you'll grab all those new features and they'll come right back to you again. So that's about it for a bit of a demo, and we are excited to release this next month is our plan. And so have a look and stay tuned for that. But at the moment, we just want to move on to our Q&A.
All right. Hi. Nice to see you guys again.
Oh, we're back. Good.
Thanks for all the comments in the chat, guys. It's great hearing how excited you are about these. I know they've been some of these ideas have been buzzing around in our head right from the start. I know, all the way back a year ago when we were first looking at SquareKicker, we were talking about things like presets, and it's just great to be able to actually get these in front of you now and be able to get them out to you. So we're pleased to hear that you are as excited as we are. So we've got some questions. Is Squarespace buying them? No.
Are they?
That's the first question we'll answer. No, Squarespace is not buying us.
Is you on Squarespace?
I love that just came through. No, we have been in touch with Squarespace. So sorry, Joseph, you asked this question, and you've said your product feels so well integrated. I would not be surprised if Squarespace would buy your company. Have they contacted you? Would this be something you'd be interested in? And I've seen that a few times in the chat as well. So no, guys, they are not buying us. We have had a lot of chats with Squarespace. They've been really encouraging. So way back in April when we first came up with this idea, we jumped on the computer and emailed people that we could and managed to get in touch with someone there, and kind of started that conversation nice and early, because we wanted to make sure that whatever we were building was going to have good value for you guys long term. And so we've kind of continued those chats, and we've been able to talk to different members of their product team and just make sure that we are always delivering some value. But no, we are going to stay our little team in New Zealand for the time being, so no changes there. Excellent. All right, so we'll crack into some of these other questions here. And feel free just to pop a few more in as we go along. So there were a few that were sent through with the registrations. We'll get onto those first. So David has asked, could you demonstrate how the licenses work and how you move websites in and out so you can develop on them? So Nick, do you want to talk about that?
Yep. So again, starting if you're on a free trial, everything you develop on a free trial is for a single website. So that's not for swapping websites in and out for that single use case. If you start on a website, it's actually locked to that site's ID. So not the domain, but actually the site ID. So you can go in and change your domain anytime later on, and that will handle dynamically, so you don't have to worry about when it goes live or if you want to change your Squarespace URL. Once that's been paired and synced with the website, that's that subscriptions website, and that's tethered. And the reason for that is because we're actually backing up all your data. So even though we're printing it to the website,
we're backing up the data that you made with us, but not Squarespace.
Not Squarespace.
Yeah.
We haven't gone to Squarespace. Good call. We're not responsible for your entire site going down or anything. We like to hold on to all your SquareKicker data, and that's we store that because every single time you're using SquareKicker, it's actually rebuilding all your code every time you reload it, and you're receiving new updates from us all the time. These new features, these things, and if something happens in Squarespace, which they sometimes do, as of recent even, and we notice a quick in their code, we quickly roll that out as a hot fix and we push it out, and then next time you open up Squarespace, you'll receive that new code, and your code will be reprinted and managed and backed up at all times. So that's for an individual site. And of course, when you upgrade to a basic plan, all that code gets saved and printed forever. So even if you stop using a subscription and you unsubscribe, all that code is still printed on your website and it doesn't go anywhere. Of course, you don't receive any more updates from us because that's not initializing, but that code is staying on your server just as if a developer were to handwrite a bunch of custom code in your site. It stays and lives there. So SquareKicker is really your personal sidekick to help you develop that code. Now, if you upgrade that plan to a designer plan, now that changes things because now that subscription doesn't hold just one website, but you can hold multiple websites. So inside that designer plan, you can continue to add more and more websites that are continually locked to that subscription. So for example, if you take a basic plan or a pro plan and you upgrade to a designer, that will be a single website in your designer plan. And then of course you can continue to add more websites in that plan. Now, if you had 3 basic plans and then you see the designer plan, you say, oh, I would really like to get a designer plan and put all those 3 basic or pro plans in my designer plan. Well, at the moment, there's no way to do that apart from getting in touch with us, but we are going to be releasing a feature for you guys to be able to transfer all those websites into your designer plan. So when you have a designer plan and you want to transfer all your basic plans or all your free trial that you've done in the past, you can go click transfer and then put those into your designer plan. So you don't have to worry about getting in touch with us anymore. With that, we'll handle all seamlessly. Now, if you want to transfer to a different person, well, that's a little bit of a different story. We need a feature for that still. If you want to, again, build a site for a client in your designer plan, and then you want to pass it off to your client, there's the only reason you would need to do that is if you wanted them to pay for their own unique subscription. So if that's the case, we need to get in touch with us. They would need to, of course, sign up for their own subscription, and then we would manually in the back end transfer that website into their subscription. However, if you just wanted to stop building on that website, you don't need it anymore, you don't want to count towards your designer active site list, you can click on, what's the word called?
Move to inactive.
Move to inactive, and that removes it into a backlog of sites you're working on. And at any given time, you can actually restore that to continue to work on it. But you can in and out remove that website to an active list, to inactive list while you're working on them. Now, if you're on a designer plan, we have given you 10 a month. So that means you can activate 10 websites a month from new or restore 10 active websites from your inactive list. I'm saying that. Should I say it again?
Yeah. So the total amount between new ones you add and restored inactive is 10 per month.
That's why I've got you around. That's great. So I hope that answers a little bit of your questions on how you actually move around SquareKicker. So you can have a single website which is locked to a single subscription. That's for single subscriptions for our basic and our pro. And our designer plans, you can have multiple websites. And so I think it's about, once you get to about 3 monthly basics, an annual designer ends up being cheaper. So more than 2 basic monthlies. So that's kind of creating the value for you guys there. Next question.
Cool, hopefully that makes sense. Hey, you touched a little bit on something that Joseph has also asked, which is, will you continue to keep the SquareKicker edits on a site even if the owner of the site stops the SquareKicker subscription? This is really appreciated and really helps us. So Nick kind of briefly touched on this, and I can let one of you guys talk about it. But I guess first up, this was really important to us, and kind of having worked as web designers, we knew that you wouldn't want those ongoing costs added onto the website for the lifetime. So that was really the gist of why we had made that part of our plan. But maybe Rowan, do you want to talk technically about that bit?
Yeah. I mean, this was a big one for me as well. Before I met Nick and Hannah, I was doing freelance web development. So I was always working directly with clients and making websites. I had a lot of personal experience, I guess, in that. And yeah, not having to sign up for an ongoing subscription was a really, really big point for us. One, for the developer, but mostly just as a developer, convincing the end user or the customer to sign up to that ongoing cost. It's quite hard to make that case and can feel like a bit of a barrier. So yeah, this was really important to us. The short answer from a technical standpoint is just that we save all of the edits that you make with SquareKicker in the code injection area in your website. So it's actually on the final edits, once they're all compiled by us, are actually saved on the Squarespace server. There's 2 big reasons. I mean, one, it means it's always in your site. You retain ownership effectively in that right. But two, the big thing as well is actually loading times. So we didn't want to have access an external server to load in those edits. We wanted it all to be with the website and for it to happen on load. So that's a really big reason. I hope that answers the question. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So we've got a question here from Golna, and I think someone else has asked it. Apologies, I can't find your name right now. But it's sorry. This one is plans for more tutorials. They're super helpful. So yes, we would love to do you more tutorials. As you can see, we're a relatively small team. And so it's just for us a matter of prioritizing kind of getting these new features out to you and getting the tutorials. But hopefully, as we release new tools and things, we always plan to release some tutorials with you to get you along your way. But if there's anything really specific that you'd like a tutorial on, please just feel free to hit us up in customer support. That's always really helpful. You can even send a screenshot in there of like, I want to make this, can SquareKicker do it? We love hearing that stuff from you guys, and it's really helpful for us to know what you want to be able to create with SquareKicker. Cool. So we've got a question here on from Julian about 2.0. It says, will 2.0 play nicely with custom hand code? Who wants to take that one?
I can start, you can finish, because you probably, there's a bit of an interesting trick around that. So essentially, if you do know how to write code with specifically CSS, there's these things called classes and IDs, and IDs have a higher priority ranking than classes, and so we're using IDs to target individual blocks. That changes a little bit with presets because we're starting to get into some classes as well, that we're creating classes to share across those styling to multiple places. So normally if you've got some custom code in your site that you're using classes on, anything that we use with SquareKicker, we'll just overwrite that. So we'll take priority. Unless you're starting to put things like important tags, which I've seen more sites than I care to admit. But using important tags should be used sparingly, because as soon as you write important, that means that no matter what we do, we can't actually overwrite that anymore. So just think about how your custom code and how you use that in there. If you're copy and pasting other plugins into your site, where you don't actually know what the plugin does, what the code is doing, how it's working, what we try to do is we try to make SquareKicker the most resilient as it possibly can. So we're running external servers to load our script, where we got our jQuery script that's running outside of it, so it's not conflicting inside of what you're doing in your site. But ultimately, it will come down to, I guess, you as the user to make sure you put in that code in the right way. With a script tag or a broken link somewhere that ends up breaking SquareKicker, not because SquareKicker is broken, but because the custom code has exposed and broken that script that you initially put in there. So we try to make again, we don't support custom code. We often don't like to go in there and fix your code. However, if SquareKicker is breaking something that you've done, we're interested in knowing what we've done and how we can make it feel and fit better. So you never have to worry about SquareKicker breaking. But in the same time, yeah. Do you have anything to add to that?
I just want to, yeah, I mean, the nature of custom code is that it's custom, which is fun. So it's quite hard for us to, I guess, work around things that we don't know about. I mean, ideally, I would figure out how to shrink myself into a little package and actually put me in SquareKicker, and then you could actually see what's there.
We could make that SquareKicker version like 5.0. Just rolling on your site, typing away.
And then we could actually be aware of what's there and then work around it. So there is only so much we can do there. One thing we are interested in, though, is that when we see commonly used and popular other third-party plugins, we do make a point of trying to work around that. Because at the end of the day, we all need to be friends and hang out in the same place. So that is part of our thought processes. Yeah.
And what's more important is if there's a custom code plugin that you're using, that's what we did it there. If there's a custom code plugin that you're using, maybe it's because SquareKicker doesn't have it. So let us know those things that you're using often and frequently, and let us know what they are, because if we can integrate that in with SquareKicker, then that will be seamless with your website anyways, and you won't have to worry about using other complex code and tweaking it to making it work and worrying about broken links and scripts and maintaining it. So that's the whole reason we created SquareKicker, is allowing people to customize their own sites without having to deal with the code. So
yeah, cool. Hey, there's a question here from Caitlin. Hi, Caitlin. I know we chat lots. You've been an awesome supporter of SquareKicker from the early days, so thank you for that. So Caitlin has asked for support on client's site. What's the conversational thought around Squarespace wanting us to remove the custom code? Now, I think we have a really good answer for you on this one. Rowan, you seemed really excited, so sure, do you want to take it?
Well, I didn't read the news. You guys told me, so it doesn't quite feel fair. But my understanding is through the grapevine that Squarespace is changing their policies going forward.
This week?
This week, good. And they're no longer going to require you to remove custom code for them to offer customer support. So, yeah, that's simplified our life and yours and hopefully theirs.
Yeah, hopefully that makes it way easier for you guys.
Yeah, you can read more about that in the Circle notes. If you're a Circle member, on their most recent releases, they have a description on that customer support policy. So that's one thing. However, as I have a frog in my throat, if you want to just fully remove SquareKicker, just to see if there's something going on, and you can actually go into your top level SK menu and find account and uninstall, that will completely uninstall SquareKicker and the script, the installation, all the code. So you don't have to worry about backing it up because we do that for you. And then you can see if SquareKicker is doing something. But of course, if you wanted to remove your custom code, you have to copy and paste that elsewhere and then delete it. But when you put your initial installation script back in and install it, SquareKicker will reinstall and all your custom code will return just as if you left it. So if you, for some reason, need to get rid of SquareKicker to get extra support or help or something, click the uninstall, everything will disappear, and then reinstall, and everything will come back without any worries.
One little trick is when you do open the top SquareKicker menu, when you go to account, there's the uninstall button, but there's also a button there which says go to dashboard. So I'd actually recommend you click that button first, and that'll open the dashboard because it's there that you'll find the installation script to then put SquareKicker back once you click the uninstall button. So go to dashboard, then uninstall, and that way you have an easy way to get it back afterwards.
Yeah, mint.
So here we are. That's for your frog.
Oh, good.
The back end is serving this. It's so good.
Awesome. All right. So we've got a question here from Daniel about speed. So it says site load speed is a major factor these days for SEO rankings. How does SquareKicker affect the load speed?
So I mean, our biggest thing there is we don't access any external scripts or servers. So it's all saved in the website. That's where it is. I mean, every 1 or 0 in binary that you add to a website is going to have some level of impact. The more pages you put on your website, the more images you put on your website, all those things will have impact. So you can argue, every little bit will do something, but at the end of the day, the biggest delays are network times. So not having to access it from an external server, that's the biggest difference in our mind. All the scripts that do any work as well, everything is just saved right there in the footer. CSS, any JavaScript that's required, we bring our own jQuery, like everything's it's in there.
Yeah. And so it's important to note that inside edit mode and the admin mode, that's when SquareKicker is running. That's when our scripts are running, the admin, the UI, everything is pumping through. However, we got this cool trick that when you're in a live site, SquareKicker is not even calling. So it's not calling a server, it's not doing anything, it just sits there in dormant mode. And the only thing that's running is your website. So no external scripts from us are running at that time. So your SEO is not being impacted from the actual UI itself.
Cool. Thanks for that, guys. Right. So the next question we've got here is a preset question. So from Sylvia in the chat. And I think someone else as well. Sorry, I can't see your name right now. Oh, maybe Andrew. Andrew, there you are. Hi. So it says, can I use a preset in a different website, or are presets specific to each website or across all sites? And there was a similar one there about whether or not you're going to be able to kind of save presets and use them around. So
I'll take that one because we've definitely thought about it, and it is we know as soon as we open up this door to presets, it's like opening up Pandora's box, right? Because then you all start dreaming about all the possibilities, and trust me, we've been there.
Yeah, to be fair, we're doing all those same dreams.
We got it.
You're just saying what's in our head.
Yeah. So we have a long roadmap, probably I would say 5+ years of things we want to do, and that is something that we are looking at. Obviously, we need to build the foundations first, just like we've done with SquareKicker. We couldn't have presets without having first SquareKicker to actually host those presets. And as we continue to flesh out what's possible with presets, we have a long list of things that I think you'll really enjoy. So without kind of promising anything, that is something we've definitely considered. And it is mostly talked about all the time that in the future, when we do this or that, how is this going to work? So as we're building everything we're doing now, we are thinking about those future plans.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, we're pretty excited about some of the future. As you can see, we have a bit of a dreaming, scheming team here. So there's not a day goes by where these two don't get together and they're like, oh, I was just curious about this one thing. And they run off onto a new little idea. So there will always be more exciting things coming your way. So a question here about the recent changes for Squarespace and just some thoughts around things like their background art. And then also, so that one was from Steve, and then from Greg as well, which kind of ties together. Squarespace recently announced a bunch of upgrades. Will SquareKicker be able to work smoothly with all of these upcoming changes on the Squarespace side?
Ron, you got this one.
Yeah.
This is fun. There was actually a real example of this very recently. So as you know, they just announced background art. You might have also seen that Squarespace has announced is it image shapes or cropping masks? So that was actually interesting. There was earlier in the week or end of last week, I was actually doing some work and I noticed that they altered the HTML in an update. Small, but like around the images, they added a new div or a new element with a nice class name that said, I think it was, image shape mask or something. And this was actually before the announcement, which was really fun. So we're actually on Slack that evening, all getting excited and going, I think I know what they're going to do. And then it was actually the next morning when we woke up, we saw that announcement in their big video, sort of talking about it all. So yeah, we felt a little bit like we were on the inside. But it was actually that same day we saw that happen, and we did some updates to account for that and make sure everything was going to continue working fine. The very next day, we then created every image block under the sun on a Squarespace website and went through and tested every one, tested all our tools, updated anything that was required, and then rolled out that update within 24 hours. So it is always going to be a little bit of an arms race. Like there's no getting around that. We are working in someone else's house and they can move their furniture when they feel like it. So our plan is to remain agile. This is part of the reason it's a subscription model because we're going to continue working on this always. And it means that when something changes, it's just one person or two people that have to do the work, and then that filters out to however many thousands of websites this is currently being used on. So yeah, it's actually, as you may have noticed, we quite enjoy challenges around here. So yeah, it's our plan to always stay on top of this. Yeah.
I would say as well that we're quite intimate, would be an understatement of Squarespace's code. We could probably, off the top of our head, write down on a piece of paper the architecture of a 7.1 website because we know it so well. And so when something changes, we're like, what is this class? And what's even really more fun is you'll notice that if you've ever jumped into the code, that what you see in edit mode is actually a completely different structure of code than the outside. So when we're running SquareKicker, we're needing to account for that. So we're writing a completely different HTML, CSS, JavaScript function just for the back end, so you can see what you're doing, and so on the front end you see it as well. So some copy and paste code plugins you won't even see until you hit save and update, but ours is hopefully running on both, so you always see that. So we're constantly looking at Squarespace's code, so if anything happens, we're usually the first to notice it before sometimes Squarespace does. We've actually told Squarespace a few things that we've seen and noticed, so that's been fun to work with them as well. But also, please send us if there's any bugs. So often people have sent us through something and they're the first person to pick it up, and within probably half hour, an hour, that's been patched, rolled out, and fixed. And so we otherwise wouldn't have known about it unless you tell us. So please just let us know.
Yeah, I love that last one. I think I got the first message that there was an update to Squarespace as I was walking into a meeting, and then I had a couple of hours of this meeting, and then by the time I'd walked out, I checked on Slack again, and Nick and Ron have been chatting away, and they've got it fixed, and they've pushed it out, and they're ready to go. So we're always trying to be really quick on those, and hopefully not have any downtime for you guys. But like Nick said, please let us know if you notice anything, because obviously there are 100 different combinations of things that you guys can be doing in your sites. So it's always really helpful to know if you've seen something that we might have missed. We've just got a couple more questions here, and then we will wrap up. So we've had lots of chat lately about the new list section. So Bill has asked, when will we be able to customize Squarespace's new list section?
Yeah, so I think that's we're just looking at that going, that's probably the new auto layouts, the auto list that Squarespace has done. And so I guess in response to that, I mean, I look at those and say, wow, Squarespace is actually, they're doing some cool stuff. I actually really like what they've done. It's actually allowed a lot of flexibility and control. And because of that, we kind of wonder and say, well, it's quite new. And as they're developing that, we know that they're going to continue to make that better and better as it goes on. So we're not unsure when we should start looking at creating a feature that is continually always changing, especially in a circle way before it gets released. So if there's something really specific that you see in a list, for example, let us know what that is, because obviously it's not, you can make something to a circle. So if that's not it, what else is that you want to make and to do? So that allows us to load up with us some ideas around what we could do and what's possible. So of course, everything is possible. We can pretty much make anything, which is the scary thing. But it's how much do you do, and what do you guys really want? That's going to be the most useful. So hit us up an email at support@squarekicker.com and let us know your thoughts.
I mean, one current example is Squarespace is working on a new toolbar for the text block. And our SquareKicker icon is still in the previous toolbar, and it is our plan to move that into the text block toolbar. But we're just kind of waiting for them to not figure out what they're doing, just solidify what they're doing, and then we're going to do that work. Yeah. So we just let them work through their processes, and then we will catch up with them. Yeah.
Cool. So Bill here has just said it's still a bit confused about what the pro account gets you, who's it ideal for. So I will just quickly run over this. So basically, our basic, that was a good one, sorry team. Our basic plan and our pro plan are made for single websites. So if you're maybe a DIY designer, or if you are designing for one individual client, you might use that basic plan. And the pro part of that, so it'll be for a single website, the pro part will get you all of those new animation features that Ron had talked about that will be coming. So it'll be all of the stuff that you can see in the advanced tab. So if you're on a basic but you want that advanced tab open, you'll go onto that pro plan. Designer and agency will get all of that anyway. So that is just really the next step up for those on a basic plan that want those extra features. Hopefully that clears that up for you, Bill. Cool. We've got one here from Caitlin. It says in the front, editing in SquareKicker would be great, as well as an alignment control where there is a low highlight on the text.
Let's just say that the text tool was our first tool we ever made. And to be honest, it's just consistently been a learning experience for us. We're developing things and then learning things. And so the text block is something that we do want to revisit. We've got a whole different plethora of ideas that we like to be able to put in there. And so it is on the cards to actually rebuild that. And that is one of the features that we want to incorporate, and the ability to do that on multiple size devices as well. So on mobile, you want it center, but on desktop, you want it left aligned. So we get that. So we want to be able to give you those flexibilities, as well as looking at kind of changing individual types of bold and italic. But in order to do that, we've heard in the grapevine from Squarespace that they're actually also redoing their text block. So we're kind of waiting to see what they do and how they finish up their development before we actually jump in and create a feature. So you can know that that's coming from Squarespace, and then shortly after, I guess you can see we're already getting lined up to make some adjustments to that.
Yeah, again, kind of, we always want to give you guys the best value. So if you're already getting something from Squarespace, or we see them developing something and we think that they might be doing that, then we're going to work on something else so that you can get something different from us. So yeah, I think we started talking about revamping that text block at the start of this year, wasn't it? But we're just kind of holding back, waiting to see what Squarespace does there. Cool, we've got one last question and then we'll wrap up. So Ina has said, last time I checked, I couldn't target the form buttons and the header button. Did this change?
So no, so because the HTML structure of a form it is completely different than, let's say, a button itself. So there is a button in a form, but there's also a button in a image. There's also a button block. There's also a button in lots of places. So in order to create elements for SquareKicker inside of those individual blocks, we would have to create a form block feature with button styling. So we will get to that. That's definitely a thing we want to get to eventually. I mean, again, every single block on Squarespace, we have vision for creating styling for. So as our team grows, and as you guys keep supporting us so we can grow and expand our team and speed up our development time, we will eventually get to those. The more feature requests we get from you guys, like this one now, that puts it at the top of the priority. So if you have something you think, oh, I would really love to see, if we start getting that over and over again, we will definitely be working on that first before something else. So let us know.
I would love to make forms more visually appealing. That's somewhat been on our, there's also just, there's so many options inside that form as well. Like, what do you do with the labels, the input fields, the borders? Like, there's so much going on there. I mean, it is something we would love to do someday. The header button. No, we don't have like SquareKicker buttons inside the header. However, I hope, like, if you go to the very top SquareKicker menu and you go to either site or page, from there you can select header, and we do have some header tools that are in there where you can change the button, and I think you can do some stuff to the logo and change the background. So if you enter in through site, it'll make those edits to every page on your website. It'll affect the header. If you go to the header tools through page, then it will just do it for that individual page. So you can do things like make your logo just like stenciled and make it go white on a certain page, or you can change the background on a certain page. So I hope that makes some sense.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite features, actually. That it's such a misuse case. If you have a black banner with a logo that looks great on one page, but now in a black banner you can't see the logo, you can flick into header logo and change your entire logo to all white. And so you can see your logo, but on your homepage that has a white screen, it's in your colorful logo. So there's just some really cool use cases throughout that. And again, we want to make some more videos when we get some time and we're not developing these things. So let us know what more questions you have, but just keep exploring. There's endless possibilities of what you could do. It's like a box of Lego. You don't know what you're going to get out at the end.
Cool. It sounds like you guys are quite excited about the forms. I can see that in the chat there.
Move that up the list.
So that's awesome. So someone has just asked here kind of what our future plans are and what challenges we run into. I think we've probably covered that a lot, and we'll just can kind of finish up with this, is that I guess we're really excited about SquareKicker and what it can offer. You know, we are genuinely driven by being able to help web designers work faster, and create these really beautiful custom sites without having to spend hours in that code or using those snippets that can be complex and frustrating and all of that. So you can probably gather from our enthusiasm that we're pretty passionate about this, and so the roadmap is long. Yes, there are challenges. We've certainly seen a few of those. I'm pretty sure I've aged about 10 years, more so than my children made me age. So yeah, there's certainly been some challenges that we have stepped through, but I guess as we continue to work together as a team, and we've got this awesome team here, we can just move through those challenges quite quickly. So I can't see SquareKicker going anywhere in the near future.
And my biggest challenge, I think our biggest challenge, my biggest challenge is just deciding what to work on. There's so much we want to do, and we've got so many ideas, and we are really excited where Squarespace is going at the moment. I really feel like they've sort of stepped up their game lately, and that's really exciting for us. Here at SquareKicker, we did decide to back that horse, so we're really excited that they're doing really well. But yeah, just deciding what to work on, because we want to build everything. But yeah, one thing at a time, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, what's really fun for us as well is we're actually, this whole idea has been bootstrapped. And if you don't know what that term means, it basically means we're self-funded. So we haven't got external funding from another source. So because we're bootstrapped, we still have to make money to make a living as we get going, because I guess we're still developing an audience. You know, we have a couple thousand users now, but as we develop that, we're still running a web design business in-house as well. We have two different teams. I have a SquareKicker team and a web design team. So you would have seen Lauren. She's actually part of our web design team who makes websites for our local clients and customers. So throughout using SquareKicker on those sites, we kind of have these, we run into these questions or thoughts or processes. So we're actually testing out SquareKicker in a real life environment, not just as a theoretical one. So as it comes up, Lauren asks the question, can I do this? Or can I do this? Or what if I wanted to do this? and we think, oh, we haven't thought about that. We should do that. And so those are really fun things for us to be able to use the product while developing it in a real life situation. So we know how fast it is. And again, like I said, when I jump into a website for a client, I think, oh, I know how to code this, but this will save me time to use my own product, SquareKicker. So we'll use SquareKicker on all of our own websites because we know the value of how fast it helps us, so we can continue to make it valuable for you guys as well.
Cool. I love the confidence with all of you guys offering to buy shares. It's music to my ears. No, that's awesome. Hey, Caitlin, you have asked if there'll be a recording of this. There absolutely will be. We will we'll put that out for you to be able to share around with anyone that might have missed it, or if anyone was signed up, that'll go out to them as well.
We'll put it in the cloud.
In the cloud.
You know, they have to, because my wife asked the same question. She can't wait to see it.
Awesome. Hey, thank you guys so much for jumping into the chat. You may have noticed by our kind of slightly scrambled personalities here that this is our first webinar that we've run. So thank you for joining us and walking through this all with us. We're going to go start building some of these features for you now so that we can get them out to you. Like the guys said, the presets will be coming out really soon, so keep your eyes open for that. We're really excited to get those into your hands. And then also that SquareKicker ad, that's going to be a really fun way for us to kind of showcase SquareKicker, so make sure you send it around to all of your friends. Appreciate all of those comments in the chat. If there were any questions that we didn't get to, I might have missed them in there. I apologize for that, but we will try and reply to you personally if you've put any questions in there, or if you think of something that you want to chat to us about after, just feel free to hit us up in our customer support channel. We love hearing from you guys, so please always continue to chuck that customer support in there, or let us know on socials. That's always really nice to hear from you guys. Cool. Was there anything else you guys wanted to say before we sign off?
No.
Back to coding.
Back to oh, Rowan's got his hoodie on. It's when they're in the code. Awesome. Hey, thanks very much, guys. We really appreciate your support of SquareKicker, not just in this webinar, but just walking along with us. We wouldn't be here without you, and we really are very excited to be continuing to deliver this awesome product to you. So thanks very much, team. See you later.
See ya.
Ka kite.